What to say when door knocking for real estate. Guys, in this video, I'm gonna break down how you can get some solid leads on a tight budget. Hey guys, are you sick of trying to find deals on the MLS in this crazy market that we live in? If so, in this video, I'm gonna break down 3 lists that allow you to know if there's motivation going on with the seller, but then the conversations that you can have with them so that you can turn these into deals. First, let's talk about the list. Guys, our first list is notice of default. Now, what does that mean? I'm gonna read the definition here. A notice of default is a notification given to a borrower stating that a payment has not been made by the predetermined deadline or is otherwise in default on the mortgage contract. So these are individuals in general that maybe have missed their first payment and now they're getting a notice saying, hey, the money's due. You got to pay the payment. If not, we're going to be tacking on fees. But if this goes on to like longer, there's even bigger, like they're going to incur bigger fines and there's going to be harsher situations coming their way. So this is kind of like the pre-foreclosure. And this list is an easy list to get, by the way, guys. All you got to do is all the people that you've been interviewing, maybe that you're doing title work. In some states, it's going to be a closing attorney. In my state, it's a title company. But whoever you're using, whether it's a title company or a closing attorney, they have access to software that allows them to know of these lists that they are already paying for, and some of them get free access to. If you're going to be using them for all your deals, it's a simple ask to just go to that title company or that closing attorney and just ask them, hey, I'm going to be bringing you all of my business. I'm going to be doing all of my deals through you. And in lieu of doing that, can you share with me your notice of default list so I know how to start finding deals out there? Number 2, it's kind of like notice of default, but one step further. This is pre-foreclosure, and I'm going to read the definition. What is pre-foreclosure? Pre-foreclosure is the first step in foreclosure process. It's designed to give homeowners options to stay in their homes before a foreclosure. Pre-foreclosure occurs when a homeowner fails to make a mortgage payment, prompting the lender to issue a notice of default. So again, guys, pre-foreclosure, notice of default, they are 2 different lists. And much like that first list we talked about, notice of default, it's found the same way. Your title company, your closing attorney, these are individuals that have access to the individuals in your state, city, county that are on this list that are missing their mortgage payments. All you got to do is simply ask them, and they should be able to share that free of charge because you're going to be closing your deals with them. Number 3, and this one's one of my favorites, and that's tax delinquent. People that are behind on their taxes. And here's what they say about tax delinquency. A property tax lien is a legal claim against a property for unpaid property taxes. A tax lien prohibits a property from being sold or refinanced until the taxes are paid and the lien is removed. If the property owner does not pay up within a certain period of time, the lien holder can foreclose on the property. Now guys, this is a good one. This is one that ultimately for the state of Utah, and every state's gonna be different, but specifically for state of Utah, it's one I know really well. After 5 years of not paying your taxes, that's when they foreclose on you and your home's going to the auction. It's gonna be foreclosed on. So what I like to do is not only find people that are behind on taxes, but more importantly, I think it's crucial to understand that in, for example, Utah, and many states follow this same exact rule, is I'm looking for people minimum about 2 years behind all the way up to 5 years, because those are individuals that it's now just stacking, and you might be a great solution, be able to help them get out from under all these back paid taxes and help them move on to plan B without any of the big things that could hurt their credit or file bankruptcy by being foreclosed on by a tax lien. Now there's 2 ways to really find this list. The one easy way, I've actually included a link down below in the description that sends you over to a company called Propstream. This is one that if you use that link, it'll actually give you 7 days free of using their software so you can get free access to any state across this country where you can have free access to not just pre-foreclosure lists, but many other lists that show motivation. The second way is just simply doing some legwork of your own, where you can go out to your county or your city or your courthouse or municipality or township and simply go to them. Now, there's sometimes that this is gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. Right now, as I'm recording this, we're still in the middle of the pandemic, the COVID-19, right? And this will make it a little bit tougher because some cities are still closed down or not allowing individuals to enter those public city buildings. So it's gonna make it a little bit more difficult, especially if these things are not accessible online. So again, that link is just a simple source that if your county, your city are not open right now during these times, it's okay, don't get frustrated. Click on that link and you'll get 7 days for free so you can start to see if there's a lot of people behind on their mortgages in pre-foreclosure as well as tax delinquent by just using this simple software. All right, guys, now that you know of the 3 lists that are really good for knocking doors and going out there and talking to homeowners and real estate and how to get those, before we move on, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I also want you to hit that bell so it alerts you when we put out fresh new content. But this last portion is now dedicated to what to say to these homeowners. First and foremost, guys, when you go to these porches, when you go talk to people and you're on their doorsteps, you're knocking their door, you don't want to be able to make your conversation just focused on their bad. You don't want to let them know that they're behind on their mortgage, that they're behind on their taxes, that they've gone into a notice of default. This is the surest way to have the door slammed on your face, or worst case scenario, punched in the face. This is not what real estate's about. So how do you go about it in a tactful way so you can start to see if they're willing to sell their home? So guys, before I share again the positive way of doing this, let me share the negative way that you don't want to do. You would never want to go up to the front door and say, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so, my name's Cody. I found out that you're behind on your taxes. And I just want to know, would you want to sell your home?" Guys, don't do that. That's so bad. Let me share with you the right way. All right, for the right way, it's this. "Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller. Hey, I'm just in the neighborhood and I've been talking to a couple neighbors. I'm really interested in buying a home in this neighborhood. Do you happen to know of anyone that's looking to sell at this time?" And just sit there. And the best way to do this, guys, is actually talk to those homeowners. Don't just say it. Go up the street a few and knock those doors and talk to people and get referrals from individuals. Get to know their names so that when you come to them, it also comes like a referral. It comes that, no, this is not just a cold guy coming up on my porch or a cold gal coming up to my porch and talking to me, but that you actually are talking to those neighbors. "Hey, my name's Cody. I was just talking to Sally a couple doors up, and really I'm interested in buying a home in this neighborhood, and she didn't really know of anyone for sale at this time, but I just wanted to come knock by your home and see if you happen to know anyone in the neighborhood that's looking to sell at this time." And they're gonna be like, "Wow, they talked to Sally," and maybe you talked to 3 people. I talked to Bob, I talked to Harold. I'm making these names up, guys. But I can tell you, when you use that, you start to help them like break down that wall so there's not that barrier between you. So that if they are indeed interested in selling their home, they're gonna open up and they're gonna start talking to you about how they might be interested in selling their home. Now guys, one of the common concerns that I hear all the time is, well, what if they do wanna sell, but they start addressing some of the elephants like, "I don't even know if you can buy my house. It's behind on taxes 3 years, and I'm behind on my mortgage, and I haven't made payments for the last 6 months." Or, "You're not gonna want this home because not only am I behind on my mortgage, this thing is garbage inside. In fact, I haven't cleaned this house out in 15 years. Now, instead of being shocked, I just like to just address it in just a calm fashion, a calm manner. I just say, "Interesting, this actually interests me. Tell me a little bit more about this property." And just sit there. Don't be like, "Ooh, no, never mind. I don't know how to do it." But just say, you know what? This interests me. Tell me a little bit more about the property." And they're gonna start talking. And then you're gonna address the elephant. Now, you said earlier, you were talking about that this home is behind on taxes. Tell me a little bit more about that. I never like asking yes or no questions, right? I like to let them talk more than I do. So I like to ask questions that allow them to talk longer. So instead of saying, "So you're behind on taxes?" That's a yes or no. And if you ever catch yourself asking a yes or no question, you're like, "Oh crap, I've already started it." Just finish it with this. So instead of saying, "Hey, so your home's in tax delinquency?" Now you can end it with this. "So your home's in tax delinquency? Tell me a little bit more about that." And that's how you can turn that yes or no into an engaging conversation where they talk more about it. And they're gonna tell you a little bit about it. And maybe some more comes out. "Well, yeah, I lost my job." Oh man, sympathize, empathize. And then, "So you lost your job. Tell me a little bit more about that." And they start opening up. And as you start to find out, say, "So what is it that you're looking for? What are you hoping to do?" "Well, we're hoping to find someone that'll buy it, but not only buy it as is." And that's when you can say, "Okay, so if I'm able to maybe think of a way to buy this home as is that something that would interest you?" "Oh my gosh, that would. Let me jot that down so I can remember that." Now, you said something about you haven't like fixed up the home and you haven't paid the taxes. Is this something that I can see is causing maybe a lot of stress? Tell me a little bit more about that. Oh, that's the thing. We don't even know if we can sell it because we're behind on our mortgage and behind our taxes. Well, that's a good question. I bought homes before that have been behind on taxes and behind on mortgages. And really, it just depends on, and we can find this out through more conversation, it just depends on maybe what you owe on the home and what the home's worth, what we can give you an offer for, and see if there's a difference in there that will pay off that balance. But ultimately, that'll be done at closing and it can all be satisfied. It's actually easier than you think, and I've helped plenty of people go through that. So tell me a little bit more about this property and just keep them going. But guys, these are the simple ways. If you can just talk them down, you don't have to say like, oh man, usually when I find a home in tax delinquency, that means I have to buy it at a discount. You don't even need to talk that way. You don't need to be like, well, if you want to sell at a discount, I'll buy it because it sounds like there's a lot of problems going on. No, just be there as if that was your mom and dad. If your mom and dad came to you and said, I lost my job, I'm behind on my taxes, I'm behind on my mortgage, would you say, well, sorry, how many beds and bathrooms is that, mom and dad? No, you would be, mom, dad, tell me. What happened? How do I help you? How do I serve you? Is there anything I can do that gets you from plan A to plan B? You treat every conversation like that, and you, my friend, will start to do more deals. All right, guys, so hopefully as you've gone through this and you see some of the marketing lists and you see how to attack these leads, it's starting to just open your mind. But also at this point, I want to give you a free gift, and that is a download to 41 lists that we market to. Now, 41, guys, I can tell you your competition doesn't know about all 41 of these. So when you have access to this list, it's going to also allow you access to these other lists that none of your competition is going to be going on, so that you can go out there and go get those deals. So go ahead and click on that link in the description below and get that download.